Now, I think we have 183 subscribers as of this moment, and I'm very grateful to all of you that subscribe to the channel. And I know I'm a high roller on YouTube. I mean, there's not two ways about that. But Baba Raka had his sights, set slightly higher, like 200. So if you happen to like great music and would like to watch me listen to it, yeah, or listen to it with me, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. And hello, people. This is Baba Rakam, and today we're reacting to Led Zeppelin "Ramble On." Now, this was a recommendation by one of the kind subscribers, 27th Angel, Peace, Love, and Marmalade. And uh, we happen to have had a what turned out to be a wholesome conversation, at least for me, and I can only hope it was the same for you as well. It is these wholesome conversations that I've had with people around the world. Are, they are very nourishing to the soul. Just the idea that we're never going to meet in person, and for a moment we're just a couple of human beings on this planet, and you know, uh, having a conversation. And used to do that a lot before when I was employed. But yeah, and also you were also very kind to call me Baba Rocker. Um, you know, a slight tangent from Baba Raka, and it's nothing but a compliment to me. Thank you. It's another title that I've been honored with. My very first, if I recall, being when I was in school by my mathematics teacher. Called me Range Bacha, because one particular afternoon he walked in to the classroom with a bunch of questions which he thought would absolutely stump everyone. No one would be able to answer, and for some reason, I don't know why, my brain neurons were working in a way that I wasn't only able to answer all of those questions regarding quadratic equations, domain, range, and whatnot. I did that without even having to try to work it out on paper, and I explained it to him like, this is this, so and so. You can see it on the graph by looking at the equation. So yeah, thank you. Nothing but a compliment. And I'm trying to build a small community over here. My little corner of this world on the internet, this YouTube channel, who knew of a time when music was better, everything was better. I mean, the last good movies I think were made back in 2000s. I don't think there's been any good movie made in the last 10 to 15 years or more. So seems like the death of good art, music, thoughts, everything, and I blame Martin Luther King for this. I'm glad he was Kennedy you know, um, and not for the reasons you think. Because if he looked at the state of the world right now, this was not his dream. And if any of you have been looking at news, CNN, or any other news outlets, scrolling on YouTube, I'm sure you must have come across at least the headline of the diddler. And many things can be explained, like they were, if you read the book Freakonomics, I forget the name of the author. I read this long time ago, definitely over a decade ago, and those are the book, and that is one of the books that should be made mandatory in all schools. You know, instead of trying the kids kids these days trying to figure out their genders, pronouns, and whatnot. And it explains a lot regarding the whole butterfly effect, cause and effect of something happening somewhere, and then that resulting to something a decade or 2 decades later. And yeah, I mean, this is all because white people they feel guilty because they have been told by everyone that they have done horrible stuff. And it's okay. It's good that you feel guilty. That makes you human. You should feel guilty. But don't you please for a moment flatter yourself by thinking you're the only race on the planet that has done horrible things. No. If you look at every race around the planet, everyone has done horrible things. All you did was level up, and you were fortuitously aided by the Industrial Revolution. And now this whole, there was a terminology used by one of the presidential candidates who is no more in the race now for 2024, called the tyranny of minorities. And you people have been backed into a corner, you know. The music that I enjoy, I understand it's all very subjective, not everyone, but no, when Baba Raka says something, when Baba Raka likes something, that is the cream of art. There is no two ways about it. There is no need to debate it. Don't try to debate me. It's just accept it. Accept my words as gospel. And you know, it's currently, since the 90s perhaps, rap and hip-hop music has become famous worldwide, where all you need to do is rhyme. There's a difference between rhyming and poetry. There are very few. Everybody can rhyme in this world if they bothered to sit down and try. There are very few rare poets in this world, and even they can't produce poetry, you know, on demand. Those things just happen. If you look at Robert Frost, yes, the road not taken, whatnot, a road less taken, and my favorite Robert Frost poem, there are miles to go before I sleep. I have miles to go before I sleep. Uh, but apart from these two, the others were trash as well. Led Zeppelin happens to be one of those few exceptions that I'm yet to find a trash song. So, you know, I mean, for if you continue to let this happen, black people are they are much more racist than will ever you could ever aspire to be. I can assure you of that. And also, if you continue to let them milk your guilt, things will only continue to decline. And there are similarities between black people and ice lamp planes on buildings. There's nothing you can say about that, say about them, no matter how true you are, no matter how true you are, no matter how right you are. There's nothing you can say about them. You're either racist or Islamophobe. You've been backed into a corner to worship at the altar of black people. And look at the state of music today. Look at the state of the world today. In black, and when I say black, I mean American black. You won't find that kind of audacity and unnecessary hostility from other black people. You might, but not to that extent. They have a copyright on that kind of thing. So when in a culture, being a criminal, being a prisoner, coming out of prisons, shooting people, and all those things are idolized, are glorified, there is only bad things you can expect. Similarly, there are various religions around the world. There is only one in which that is absolutely intolerant. What is the word? All of us who are not ice lamp planes on buildings are... there's a word for that. Escapes me at the moment. So there's no room for such people, infidels in the world. And jihad and all these things are glorified in the very text that is the foundation of the religion. So yeah, come on, white people, hold your ground, because if you continue to let people paint you in a corner, paint you back into a corner, and milk your guilt any further, soon we'll all be following Sharia laws, and they will annihilate, obliterate, maybe if not the people, all this great music, movies, everything that we have good about life, about this world, about our human brains, about our species, and all these cultural artifacts. So yeah, they've been known to do that. Believe me, I know. So since you can't say all those things, you can't say anything without being labeled racist or Islamophobe or bigot or all those things. Luckily for you, Baba Rakha can. So yeah. Anyways, so whilst we have these good things on the planet, let's listen to Ramble On, after I rambled on for so long. All right.
such a blight, such a pleasant state. But now it's time for me to go. Oh, the autumn moonlight's my way, and I smell the rain, and with it pain is heading my way. Oh, sometimes I get so tired. Just one thing I wanna do. Sing that song on my way. Oh yeah. I got no time to spread and root. Oh, the time has come to be gone. And though our health we drank 1,000 times, it's time to ramble on. Yeah. Sing my song
Okay, this was beautiful, amazing in so many ways. First, the quality of the audio, the video. Of course, they're aided by the technology, everything available in 2007. So, and I was told by 27th Angel that uh, it's John Bonham's son on the drums, and I think that was the reason why they disbanded, right? 1979-80, because they didn't want to move on after Bonham passed, and here they are. Bonham is still here. What's up with Robert Plant's hair, man? How old are they over here? Like Jimmy Page rocking it at this age. This is 2007. I mean, they were already making music in the 60s. I read that Page was a sessions guitar player at a studio before he met Plant. And so, assuming they were maybe around 25, let's say in 1970s. So this is 37 years after that. What's 37 plus 25? 62? By God, man. Crazy. I mean, crazy. And John Bonham. The sound quality of this was so good. The sound engineer did his part very well. I mean, the bass is so good. The bass, you know, I don't know if Jones started using different pedals for his bass later, or I'm not that intricately aware of sound engineering and all that. If you look at my videos, they're done with a mobile phone and this acoustic guitar and a free open source software, edited and put together by this free open source software. So yeah, beautiful for so many reasons. And as always, of course, I don't know the lyrics. I'll look up the lyrics. Thank you so much for this recommendation. I did back in the day, during my school years, did find going to California from, I believe, this very same concert, but it was not by the proper production crew. Someone had recorded it on their phone. It was very poor video quality. You could barely see anything, but the audio was, for some reason, it hit me. It was just sublime. Going to California, and then in the end, when Plant does his thing, like ah 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 this for some reason the audio was captured by that phone mobile device. I used to listen to it on repeat while under the guise of studying calculus, integral, all those absolutely useless things that you're never going to use in the world if you're employed. So yeah, and for some reason that riff, ding ding ding, check 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 check, ding 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 ding, that part, it sounds familiar. I don't know if I like this song too much. If I had heard this song, I'm sure I would have heard it multiple times, as is my nature. If I like something, I listen to it over and over again. Inception, the movie. I know Christopher Nolan made the movie. He wrote and planned it for 10 years before being able to begin making it. And he was there in the editing room later to work in. But still, I would like to bet that I've seen Inception more times than Christopher Nolan has himself. Uh, I have that thing, like, if I like something, I'll stick with that, like art wise, not girl wise. If I like a girl, I'm sure I'll like another girl the next day. So yeah, and this was amazing. I think this has been now added to my playlist of songs that I could not stop listening to if I tried. And thank you so much for this recommendation. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for good energies and good vibes. Sincerely appreciated. And right, until next time, take care. That's what I knew. Au revoir. Bye.